So this trade is from Nikki. So let's look at a chart. So okay, here's a daily chart. I think I covered Baker last Sunday, maybe somewhere around here. So that's pretty much based on by the this type of the breakout. So we can see that the volatility is contracting. By the way, yeah, this is probably a good example of the VCP, the volatility contraction pattern. But you can tie in with phase C as well. So generally, that's contraction of the volatility, especially this last few bars. So it's just similar to the vertical absorption. So supply is decreasing. So right after that, I think that's the breakout. So in terms of the chart for daily change of character, well, I wouldn't classify this as a change of character, but this is something like a capitulation bar. So once it's break down, a lot of people just dump the stock. I think at that time is probably the China regulation. So there are quite a lot of the bearish news coming out from China government, and Baker is one of the victims. So it just get hit badly. And despite that, there is a lot of the demand come in. So this is a demand tail, spike of the volume. Certainly there's demand come in, and this is like a stopping action. So attempt to stop, but the supply actually overwhelm the demand. So that's why we see that it's just keep falling. And until at this point, we probably see a nice rally up, but still, I think the overall sentiment is quite bad, and we still see that the momentum keep going down. But look at this. So we have a shortening of the truss. So the truss to the downside is getting shorter and shorter. So this is the shortening of the truss to the downside. So suggesting that the down momentum is fading. So that's why subsequently we have another rally up. But to look at the rally, I mean, the magnitude of the rally is not great at all. So generally, I think there's still quite a lot of the supply going on, and that's why we don't really see a good rally like this and then forming a range. So instead, it's kind of shallow. So subsequently, we see that supply is decreasing and also further decrease while the price is moving up. So this is quite an encouraging sign. That's why I cover the stock somewhere around here and anticipate that it can breaking out. And with the first target, maybe is like what you just draw up. So somewhere around 30 or 29. So mainly is the gap here. So that could become the first target. So quite significant because it's deeply oversold stock, like from maybe 2023 can go up to 30 or 32 or even 36 or 40. So congratulations, Nikki, to catching up this stock. So H1, your entry is 23.3, initiate long. I guess that's based on the breakout. So you're using the hourly chart based on the pivot here. And after the close of H1, you enter at 23.3. I think it's a good entry. So that's quite a perfect entry. And subsequently, what you need to do is just to manage the trade. So you have your target there, first target 29, second target 35. I think that's good as well. So like I mentioned earlier on, so these are the good targets, and you can just trail your stop here. And yeah, this just left to the trade management part. So yeah, well done. And I don't really have any type of the comment. And apart from we see that there is a spike of the volume, so suggesting both increase of supply and demand. But in this case, we still see that the reaction is very shallow. Despite that, there are some supply coming out, but still, I think overall very good price action. So definitely can trail the stock and lock in the profit along the way. So Dave just say, does PA works when below 200 MA? Yes, of course. So 200 MA is just a you can treat it like a support or resistance. So it doesn't really matter whether it's below 200 or above 200. So it's just that when a stock is below 200, usually is probably like a downtrend or is still like consolidating while others has been running up. So just like Baker, like this. So uh, yeah, so good. So we have some MA here. So you can see this is 100, 50, 10. So definitely I think this is 100. So this one is certainly below 200. So again, there is a accumulation structure going on, and I'm sure that during this period, the Standard Strength rally is outperforming the S&P 500. So the relative strength definitely is going up because it's beating the S&P 500. So despite that, it's kind of like a laggard stock because it's below 200. In this case, it's definitely below 100 MA, but still, we can still find that it's kind of like an oversold condition, and there are a ton of the accumulation activity going on, and someone actually sees the value at least at this price, right? So you can see previously is maybe 60 above 60 or even 100. I don't really know, but certainly some funds or some speculators, they see the value with this cheap price, so they just accumulate and they just want to make some money. So let's see how far it can go. Maybe it can go back to here, 48.50. That will be the axis line where the resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance. Okay, so from Nikki, was a little concerned on Friday, but decided there was no big supply and keep the trade. Yeah, so I guess on Friday, yeah, this is Friday. I mean, supply is not threatening yet. So definitely on the result side is still shallow. So I would just keep monitoring or trailing this because at the moment it's probably start a reaction, so it could just have another bar, even go back to test the axis line. So the axis line is the pivot that I cover. So it's quite common to see after the breakout, then we have a reaction, come back to test the previous resistance, now turn the support. So at the moment, don't really in a rush to move your stop to too tight. Otherwise, it's quite easy to get hit by the stop. And then often you will see that after you hit your stop, then touch the tested the axis line, then you can just go back up and then trend higher. Okay. So from Dave, okay, will this form a come and handle? Well, probably, maybe, I don't know. So at the moment, is definitely looks like double bottom, or if you want, that could be like a cup and handle. Then there's a breakout, and it can just hit that. Then there's the swing high. Then there's a big cup. Then you can form a big handle. I think that's possible. And if you think about the rationale behind like cup and handle, double bottom, or any other pattern that you can find, usually is just like a typical type of the support and resistance. So this is a resistance. So when I hit the resistance, it had a pullback. So that's all. So this is another resistance. If it hit the resistance, then it had another pullback. That could form the handle. So yeah, so that will become the shape or the pattern that we are looking at. Yeah, so Baker is actually looking good. And if you look at other Chinese stocks like Jingdong, JD.com is generally strong. I think it's one of the strongest stock in the US listed Chinese stocks. So Baker is quite a nice nice price point in terms of the entry. So yeah, good job, Nikki.